Hi, I'm Loretta of Loretta Barra Art, and I wanted to do a demonstration for you. We're going to work on this little kitty cat, and this is from the kit, the Halloween kit with the kitty cat and the hat and the candy corn. So first thing I do, I actually got some poster board at the Dollar Tree to paint on, but you can paint on any hard surface. And I also got some masking tape at the Dollar Tree. So what I like to do is I like to tape down my watercolor paper, and that way when it gets wet it doesn't bubble up quite as much. And you could do all four sides. I'm just going to do two right now, but when you frame them, you would need some white space anyway, so it works out fine. Then I have my water here. I have a paintbrush that I'm going to use, and that comes with the kit. I do have some color charts depending on which color strip you're using. I've got two different ones here. I have one that has 6 colors and another that has 5 colors. And depending on your kit, you might get one of each, or you might get 2 of one or the other. So to paint the kitty cat, it's black. So we don't have black here, but we do have this dark brown and this dark blue. So let's look at our color chart and see what to do. It looks like if we mixed, well, it would help if I put my glasses on. Let's put my glasses on. Okay, so if I mix the brown with that dark blue, I should get like a gray color, which if we make it a little darker, it would be black. So we're going to try that. I've got little sheets of paper that are a palette that I put in with your kit. I used this side already. I'm going to use this side now. So I'm going to wet my brush. And I do have my little reference page right here. Let's see if you can see it. If I put it right there, I'll scoot everything over a little. Okay, there's my reference sheet. And let's make the color we need. So I've got water on my brush. I'm going to dip it in this brown, put it on my palette, and then I'm going to clean off my brush a little, dip it in the blue, and put that on my palette and see what color. It looks like it is black. Let's put a little more blue and a little more brown. Okay, that looks pretty good. So sometimes the brushes have a little part that sticks out. That just tends to happen with brushes. Just cut it off. Okay, so let's start painting. And voila. So when you paint, you really only need 3 primary colors, and it can make every color that you ever need. The primary colors would be red, because you can't make red with any colors mixed together. You've got yellow as a primary color, and blue. And all those 3 colors can make every color that you ever need. I'm going to add some water. And that does tend to have quite a bit of blue showing, so let's come back in here. Now, what I do, I don't always use the paint strip. Once I get the palette going, I'll use the paint that's on the palette. And with watercolor, you tend to have to work kind of quickly because it does dry fast, depending on where you live. I live in Idaho, which is very dry, so the paints do dry really quickly. When I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, which was nice and had a lot of moisture in the air, it wasn't quite a problem like it is in Idaho. So you just have to figure out where you're at and how fast you need to work to move the paints around. Okay, so we just come along, and if you notice your black kitty cat, it's not really black. The kitty cat actually has browns and blues in it, and that's how I paint with watercolor. I never use pure black because it's just kind of boring. So we're just going to paint this little guy. Now I have too much blue, so I'm going to dip my brush and get a little more brown. And we're going to put a little more brown in here. Oops, let's watch out for that little nose. I'm painting kind of quickly. You can take your time. And the other thing about watercolor is you can come back over it a second time. If it's too light, it does tend to dry lighter rather than darker. So once it's dry, you can come back over it, but don't do it while it's still wet. Okay, we've got his little face going. And the other thing is, if you want to like paint the color of the eyes or the nose, you wait until this first color is dry. Otherwise it'll pull it in together. Okay, so I've got to wait till this dries to come back and work on the eyes and the nose. So there's that. And I also have to wait till the black dries before I put the purple collar in. And same with there. So we got to let that dry. Let's come and work on the tail. Once again, let's get a little more of the brown and a little more of the blue. And we've got it mixed on the palette, and we're coming in here for the tail. Now, as your watercolor journey tends to grow, this watercolor paper is a 90 pound, which is fine for practicing and beginning. If you start to really paint heavily with watercolor and you want to do a lot of layers, like I have some paintings of grapes and cherries that have like 8 layers of watercolor paint, I use a 300 pound paper. But if you're not there yet, there's no use using that thick of paper. Then we can come in and paint the body. And I'm just pulling the color, pulling it down as quickly as I can. Like I said, it's light. I can come back later and make it darker and blend it more. Because you will see some streaks as parts of it dry faster than others. So you can come back and paint over this layer and make it smoother. Anyway, with watercolor, it's fun. You got to just keep practicing and figuring out how much water to use. You don't want to use too much. You want to use enough, so it's a matter of practicing. Okay, I'm going to come in now. I'm going to work on the ears, and they're pink. So I clean off my brush really well. I'm going to take a little bit of this red, put it on my palette, and see how dark it is. That's pretty dark. I don't want it to look like the ears are bleeding. So the way you make a color lighter with watercolor is you add more water. You don't add white. So let's just make it darker here and here according to the reference. And then I'm going to come in with a cleaner brush. And I always have a paper towel nearby or Kleenex. That way I can kind of rinse off my brush and dry it off a little like I just did. And there we go. There's the pink ears. And now we're going to do the little pink nose. Get this, just a little bit of pink here. Oh, isn't he cute? And now the eyes are a light green color. So let's take a little bit of the yellow, mix it on the palette with a little bit of green. And see if we can get close to this color here. That color, it's kind of green with yellow. So I'm going to take part of the yellow and part of the green here. Well, I need a little more yellow. Okay, so once again, part of it is darker. So I'm going to work quickly and put the darker green there. And then I'm going to come in, get a little more yellow on my brush and just kind of mix it here and then pull the green with the yellow. You see how I pulled part of the color and I got a little bit of yellow there. I'm just going to wipe it off. And there we go. Now for the little star, it's kind of an orange color. So orange, I can look here. To make an orange color, we've got red and yellow. So a little bit of, actually this color here, vermilion, is orange. But that's a little dark, so I'm going to add some yellow to it. and lighten it up a little. I think that's pretty much the color of the star. And we'll go like that. We've got to let that dry, and then we'll come in and do the purple. So to make purple, we need to put a little bit of blue with orange, or we could use blue with red. So let's see what we like better. Let's do the red. Put some red there. Clean off our brush again. And a little bit of blue. And let's see if we get purple. Oh, it looks a little too brown. So what do I need to do? If it looks too brown, I think I'm going to add a little more blue. Let's see what happens. There we go. Now we got it more purple. And if you want a darker purple, let's try again. And we'll let that dry and come back over it. Let's try again to do, well, let's try this vermilion color and see what happens if we do vermilion. And then we put some blue with that. By the way, these paint strips you can use for probably one strip for all three paintings. See, now I don't like that. That's too brown. So I liked it with the red better. We've got red. Clean off my brush and get some blue. And let's put it here and see what happens. Let's add a little more red. It's like science. It's just like fooling around with these colors till you get what you want. So by adding more red, it made it too brown. So we're going to add more blue. Now I've been painting with watercolor for 25 years, but it's still a process of mixing colors. You just never quite know exactly what's going to happen. So just play with the colors on your palette. That's why I have a palette instead of doing it directly onto here. If you want to do the background, you can. I'm just going to show you how we'll put a second coat on the little guy here. Now we made the black with some blue. I'm going to use the other side of my palette. So let's get blue. And we need some brown. And a little more blue and a little more brown. And let's see. So it's darker. See how we got that darker now? I need a little more blue in there. So the hardest thing to paint with watercolor is like a black cat. But that's Halloween, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Blue with a little more brown, and here we go. And I'm going to add more water. And like I said, if you look at a kitty cat that's black, it's not going to really be all black. You're going to see these other colors in there. And it is your painting. You could always add other colors besides black and make the kitty cat a different color. See, now I just added a lot more water, so I'm just trying to blend it all a little better by adding water. You could always dry it with the hair dryer. Because the page will start to ripple a little bit as you're blending these together. I'm going to try to blend the little face a little more. Okay, so just have fun playing with it. You're going to be getting a watercolor paper twice as big as this. This one is a half a page. You're going to get a full page like this big. So it's quite a difference than this one. I just wanted to give you an idea of how to paint it. So have fun with those colors and paints and your kitty cat and your hat and the little candy corn, and happy Halloween.